So, video I just posted, I spoke about the first nuclear, small nuclear reactor. The term for them now is small modular reactors. It's up in Greenland, frozen in an ice shelf that's drifting towards the sea, and will end up there because that's what nature is going to do with it, right? But what is key from that conversation is small modular reactors have existed since the 1940s and 1950s. They have been deployed, if poor memory serves me, at about 7 or 8 locations on the planet. Again, this is done by the Army Corps of Engineers because of the specialty and engineering marvels required to play these games, the diligence required, the focus. You have to have an organization, huge organization behind these things. This is nothing to do with states' rights. So these things existed, and yet we just paid to reinvent them. You and I, over the last few decades, have helped an industry with patents all over every bit of this. Because of the scrutiny, you can't get around it. There's large money in this. So these things haven't gone away. Maybe patents have expired or not renewed. So this is the other half of engineering. So yeah, we've paid 10 times over for developing SMRs. We have paid the same corporations 10 times over to reinvent nuclear, and they haven't. Their reinvention is claiming that making it smaller makes it safer. When you string 12 SMRs, which is the current design to be built in Idaho, next to each other, the risk from shared infrastructure failures increase. The complexity has increased because of the nature of the electronic control system. The electronics will be taken out with one solar flare. That hasn't happened in our lifetime, so don't worry about it, right? There is a defense in depth strategy. If you'd like to go through it, I can speak to it, having touched pieces of it. From network infrastructure, network segmenting, controls infrastructure, controls software level monitoring, something called MAC address controls. This is defense in depth. It's layered architecture with monitored systems. So why does this little piece of a conversation matter? Well, in Russia, I think Ukraine, one of their nuclear plant operating technicians figured out he could get free energy if he brought his computers inside the walls of the nuclear plant. Why would you do this? Because you're Bitcoin mining. You need huge amounts of energy to power the vector graphics boards inside banks of computers that are doing the vector physics that calculates some of this nonsense inside their whiz-bang toys in order to encrypt and to maintain data sets. It's distributed information processing. It's part of defense in depth strategies, breaking information apart so the single find won't lead you to the sum unless you could have other pieces. SMRs. We've been sold a bill of goods. Again, the media noise about personal health issues, personal sexuality, adult consent, decisions, and choices, and human intelligence. You see, these attacks on our morals are to distract us from our future. Does that make sense? But there's no conspiracy. You can go point to these people, to their LLCs, to their Liberty Foundation, to their, what's the name of it? Heartland Foundation. That's a good one to go look up. These little foundation parties, these uh, corporate entities, corporate peoples are awash in your SMR dollars at work. We could have retrofitted the grid and made it the most resilient on the planet, and we didn't.